Deborah, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to speak to me here at Rock's blog.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. So, you run Film Pride here in Brighton. Could you tell us a bit more about how you came to be setting it up, what Film Pride is about, and just, yeah, get it out there to our audience?
Yeah, so FilmPride started in 2020, 2019, sorry. It started because I'd just come back from a festival in Las Vegas where one of my films was screening at a queer festival. And I had a good relationship with our TV channel in Brighton, Latest TV. And so I contacted them and asked them if they'd be interested in me doing a series of shows, screening some lesbian and trans short films, which they were really interested in. So I did, I think it was six shows that I did, screening some short films from our community. And then I thought, why don't we do an actual film festival of queer short films? Because I hadn't noticed one in Brighton. So I spoke to Latest about doing some live events. And it turned out that they were kind of like toying with a similar idea, but not just for short films. So we joined forces and Film Pride was born. So we screened some films at the Latest Music Bar in the run up to Pride. We had some features. I didn't curate the features; they were curated by someone else. I focused on the short films, and we had some talks. I think that there was a film. There was a film about Peter Tatchell as well. We had all sorts of events in the run up to Pride, and then obviously the pandemic hit. I sort of took over Film Pride as a whole, and it became a festival purely for, mostly for short films still. And we delivered our program online during the pandemic completely free of charge. We had, I think, like something like 60, 70 films
Oh,
online
wow.
for 2 years. And then last year, we were an integral part of Brighton Pride. So we had a tent during Brighton Pride at We Are Fabuloso in Preston Park during the 2 days of Pride. And so that makes us different to other festivals because we have a tent at Pride, which is the heart of Pride, but we also were in the parade. So we offered our filmmakers the chance to be in the parade with us and to obviously be greeted and cheered on by about 300,000 people, which is obviously a wonderful opportunity for them. And the other thing that makes us a bit different to other festivals as well is that we also, I screened a selection of films from the festival on Latest TV and on other community channels in the country as well. So we have Film Pride, the live events, and then we have Film Pride on TV. And again, that gives the filmmakers an opportunity to have their films seen on TV. And also it gives our audiences in Brighton, a local TV station in Kent, which is KMTV, local TV station in Sheffield, which is Sheffield Live, and one in Belfast, which is MBTV. So it gives these channels the opportunity to show their audiences films that they wouldn't normally see.
Yeah.
So it's great because we reach out to thousands more people, and that means that for our filmmakers, obviously their audiences grow massively.
So, can you tell us a bit about latest TV then?
Yeah, so Latest TV is our local channel in Brighton. It's available on Freeview 7 and Virgin Media 159, and you can also live stream it anywhere in the world by going to the website thelatest.co.uk. And I actually work for Latest TV now. I am the director of films, so I do a lot of I program a lot of films for Latest TV. I do different TV festivals. So there's Film Pride, but there's also an environmental festival called Inheritance, which I screen 3 times a year. I screen in spring, summer, and winter. And then in the autumn, I do a Halloween festival, and I also do an International Women's Day festival. And all these festivals, similarly to Film Pride, they focus on indie filmmakers.
Hmm. Amazing. So, you've got a lot on your plate.
Yes.
So, can you tell us a bit more about your curation and how you put your programs together and sort of keep that focus on sort of the queer indie films?
Yeah, so for Film Pride, we have a page on Film Freeway, which is the directory of film festivals for filmmakers. So most of our films come from submissions from filmmakers that myself and my co-programmer, Keris Evans, we'll watch the films and we'll select them.
Mhm.
And then I also find films through other festivals that I attend or through talking to filmmakers at, at networking events. So different sources, really. And our focus is we try to represent every letter of the LGBTQIA plus alphabet, basically.
Yeah,
And I mean, ideally, we'd obviously focus on queer filmmakers as well, but it's not always easy to know if a person is a filmmaker identifies as queer or not. So really, we focus on queer stories, stories that represent us as a community, which means a lot of diversity because obviously
mhm.
we're all different. Um, and I also try and include, films that deal with not just coming out stories, because I think thankfully we are now, especially in Brighton, we're in a world in Brighton, in a bubble where it's not so much about coming out anymore. Our stories are more about what we do as queer people, day to
Yeah,
day, different types of stories. There is still a place for coming out stories because, of course, in most places in the world, it is still impossible to be queer. It's life threatening in many parts of the world. So we definitely still include those stories, but we also want to look at every other aspect of being queer. Um, and what else? I think that's it. Have I answered your question? I feel like there was something
yeah.
else
No,
I
you
need.
have, you
Okay.
have. So, I mean, we all know what it's like, how difficult it is to put on a physical film festival. What are the challenges of putting it on at something like Pride in Fabuloso? In that, because for people who don't know, it's like a music festival, isn't it?
Yes, it was a very different experience to putting together a conventional film festival because obviously people who go to We Are Fabuloso, because we're still, we're growing, we have been growing exponentially, but we are still a small festival, and most people who were at We Are Fabuloso had not heard of us.
Mm.
So they sort of happened to walk past the tent. We were in the community part of the festival, so people walked past the tents and saw a program and decided to sit with us for a while. But it was a bit of a shock because people would literally come in and out during films and you wouldn't do that at a film festival because
No.
I'd programmed the films in in different strands. We had the theme of identity, which was under the name itself. We had family and we had love, and so we had different strands of films which were about an hour and a half, 2 hours each. And obviously, when you go to a film festival, you sit down and you watch the whole strand of films.
Hmm.
And yeah, as I said, people were literally coming in and out during films. And I had filmmakers with me that I had invited. We did introductions at the beginning of their strands. But the people who were watching the films were not necessarily the same people who had actually seen these filmmakers introduce themselves because they had left and some people had come in. And it was like that all day for the 2 days because people were dipping in and out, and some people
Yeah.
were coming in before watching Christina Aguilera, or. So once we understood that this was not your conventional audience, it was absolutely fine. And it was actually wonderful because, again, similarly to the TV festival, these people would never have come across these films. So we offered, a Pride audience of thousands of people the opportunity to watch films that they would never have done otherwise. So again, it was great for our filmmakers, just a very different experience.
It's incredible because I think that's one of the battles as well with short films and especially independents. It's finding that audience.
It
Um,
is, and yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you.
no, 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 go on. I was just going to ask, how was the reception, with people popping in who may have not known, people who may have never been to a film festival before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the feedback we got was amazing. Everyone loved the fact that there was a film festival because not everyone who was going to We Are Fabulous or wanted to see Christina Aguilera or
Mhm.
wanted to party in dance tents all weekend. Some people wanted to relax and to feel more part of the community, which I think Pride is really focusing on now. Is about bringing Pride back to the community. So people felt that having a film festival, which was about queer people made for queer people, was it was a great addition as something that's definitely here to stay because it does make sense to have films at a Pride, queer
Yeah.
films at a Pride. And yeah, I mean, as you said, it is difficult, and especially now, when you have things like TikTok where videos are. I mean, I've never looked at TikTok, but the videos are really short. People are so now used to everything being instant and to things being really short that if you don't capture their attention in the first few seconds, then you've lost them. But that's also why short films are brilliant, because a lot of people won't sit through a feature, and if you offer people feature after feature after feature, those features are really specific to one aspect of the LGBTQIA plus community. Whereas with short films, in one strand of 2 hours, you can cover every letter of our alphabet.
Yeah, it's incredible. So, what's the plan for this year? Have you grown? Have you got different ideas in place?
Yeah, so this year we are back at We Are Fabuloso
Mhm.
for the 2 days of Pride. We are also back in the parade. So again, selected filmmakers will be invited to join us in the parade.
Amazing.
So anyone, people watching this who watch the parade, you will hopefully see us. And we're also going to do live events. So I'm currently negotiating dates, etc., with different venues, because I don't want to just have Film Pride at Pride. I want to be able to offer screenings to people who can't go to Pride,
Mhm.
or want to, just want to actually sit in a cinema room or in a screening room and watch films.
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess, I mean, I know the ticket prices to Pride are quite high. So that would be
Yeah,
different than offering like a screening session or something at a festival. So that's pretty
exactly.
exciting. Are you going to do that after Pride?
We are going to do that before Pride.
Okay.
And actually, I should point out as well that so yeah, the Pride tickets are not cheap, but we don't charge. For people who come to Wear Fabuloso, our tent is free to access, like the other tents,
Oh, brilliant.
and we don't get any money from the Pride tickets at all. So yes, anyone who has a ticket to Wear Fabuloso can come to our screening tent, and we won't charge anything.
Oh, brilliant. That's good to know. So now tell me more about you as a filmmaker. So we here at Brighton Rocks, we screened a documentary of yours last year, and then we're going to be screening another film this year, and you've got a great style.
Oh, thank you. I don't actually know how I would define my style, to be honest, but yeah, that's really nice to hear, because actually that documentary and the short film are so different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the documentary was actually commissioned by Latest TV. I'd never imagined that I would make a documentary. And so they wanted to make a documentary about a band of women who were quite prominent in the 80s. They were political activists, lesbian activists, social activists, and through theatre and through music. And they reformed a few years ago, and the members are all in their 60s and 70s now, and they are wonderful women. So yeah, I made this documentary. I made a feature version of it for Latest, and I made a short film version of it, which I believe is the one that you screened. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, and it was brilliant, and I loved making a documentary. So I'm now preparing to make another documentary. This time will be it'll be another queer documentary, because yes, my focus is on queer stories, bringing
Mhm.
positive stories, queer stories to the mainstream. And my next documentary that I'm making with a friend is about queer people and their pets. It's
Okay.
about the importance of the relationship that we have with our animals, through isolation and loneliness. They're really good for mental health, and so it'll be a happy, uplifting documentary, but also with some serious topics around mental health, isolation, and everything. And then yes, the short film that you're going to screen is completely ridiculous. It's a short film that I made because I was really bored last year. I was developing a feature with producers, but it wasn't going fast enough. So I thought, oh, what can I do? Because I'm a real doer. So I thought I really need to do something. And I thought, well, I'm going to make a short film. I invested in this ridiculously expensive phone, because I also realized that I'd never actually held a camera. As a filmmaker, I'd always obviously hired, a crew. And
Yeah.
I'd never held a camera and filmed anything properly myself. So I thought, well, let's just do it. I'll just get a phone with a good camera, and I'll work with some mates, and we'll make a short film. And so that's Portrait of a Cat Lady on Fire, which is obviously, a reference to Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which is a
Yeah.
lesbian period drama. And it is a parody and a sort of a piss take of lesbian period dramas. But it was inspired by a true story. Because the necklace that the lady wears is actually the necklace that my then girlfriend actually gave me when my cat passed away, and she had saved some of her hair.
Okay,
So,
that's great.
so that inspired me to make the film, because she gave me this necklace, and I thought, thank you, I guess. I'm gonna do this. And then I thought, oh, well, I'll make a film out of it. So yeah,
That's a good use of an odd gift.
exactly. Yeah, I'm not sure how impressed she was that I told her I would make a complete piss take out of it, but
And so how's the promotion going for this latest film?
Yeah, it's going well. We've just screened in Amsterdam in the biggest queer film festival in Amsterdam. I'm not going to pronounce it well. I did learn, but I've forgotten. I think it was FilmPride, which
Yeah,
is a
I
festival in
saw
Amsterdam.
it on Instagram. I can see it written.
Yeah, yeah. So that's just that screened a few days ago. It's going to screen later, early April. It's going to screen in Boston at Wicked Queer, which is another big queer film festival. And it's just screened in Atlanta, the Women's Comedy Film Festival, and it's screened in Brazil, at Lesbian Film Festival, where it won Best Comedy, which is really nice.
Amazing.
Yeah,
You've got a
it's
real sort of diverse audience there.
yes, exactly. Diverse audience from different countries. And of course, we're screening in Brighton in the summer, which I'm really excited about because it was all shot in Brighton as well. So,
Yeah, no, it is. It's brilliant. You just see it on the beach. No, I found it hilarious. I really did.
oh, thank you.
So when is the documentary going to come out then?
So probably next year, I think. We're just at a sort of pre-production stages at the moment. We're actually looking to interview people from our queer community who have pets. So we're on the lookout for people at the moment to interview and to film. So yeah, anyone who watches this or who reads the interview transcript, and if they're interested, then please get in
Brilliant.
touch.
Yeah, we'll put it out because we've got quite a lot of like local Brighton filmmakers as well. So we'll put it out to them.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So my final question for you is, how do you find building a festival as a filmmaker yourself?
I think I think it's definitely an asset because I've seen a lot of film festivals where the organizers are doing it for the audience,
Mhm.
which is wonderful. But I think for me, it needs to be more than that. You need to think about the filmmakers because without the filmmakers, you wouldn't have a film festival. So it's really important to nurture your filmmakers. It's really important to offer them a networking event,
Yeah.
um, or more than one, and to welcome them into your festival. And I mean, the reception I had at in Amsterdam, the organizers were absolutely lovely. They were so nice. They were really friendly, and we were chatting for ages. And to me, that's a great festival because it did make you feel part of it, like an integral part of the festival. And also, it's nice if you can afford to, as a festival, to offer your filmmakers a ticket to see their screening.
Yeah.
Um, that's again really important, especially if they've paid a submission fee. It's a really nice thing to do. So yeah, I think these are the things that I wouldn't necessarily have thought about if I hadn't been a filmmaker myself.
No, it is massively important. I think we found that at Brighton Rocks as well, because whilst you can have the support of the city and the community, it's for filmmakers, especially, when we're dealing with these kind of grassroots independent films. And it's a place for them to come and bring their friends and family and showcase their work with an audience.
Absolutely. And another thing that's also really important is doing Q&As with them because it's really good for the filmmakers to be able to engage with their audiences and to explain, why they've made their films and talk about their experiences of it. And it gives the opportunity to the audience to ask questions as well.
Yeah. No, I agree. And sort of I find those invaluable as well for other filmmakers, because then they're able to connect with each other and learn different things from each other. So brilliant. Well, Deborah, thank you so much. This has been great.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Good.